So you joined the military in 1943 during the draft?
I was drafted in the military.
Yeah. Now I'm not really familiar with what division were you in.
79th Infantry.
Yeah. And
Anybody.
no.
I had one little buddy that was, he was a year ahead of me in high school. And when he first came up for the draft, he didn't weigh enough.
Right, really.
So then when I went, he weighed 105 pounds.
Yeah.
Because I only weighed 110 or 15
Right.
myself. And so he went in, and of course we went to Devon's together. And then at Devon's, they put us on Pullmans and sent us to Oklahoma. What was impressive to me when I first went into Camp Gruber was the German prisoners from the Africa Corps.
Yeah.
They were just marching in from out in the, I guess they call it crabapple stone or something. I don't know. And they were making steps and and sidewalks all around through the camp.
Yeah.
And so they were out there in the quarries all day, and then they marched them in at night, singing away, and we just come in, and and when we unloaded the train, they were just coming in. It was impressive.
Now, where was this?
In Camp Gruber, Oklahoma.
Oklahoma, okay. So
outside of Muskogee.
Okay, yeah.
And then, I mean, we had training there. We didn't get all our training, but they needed 8,000 at Camp Phillips for the 79th Infantry Division to get it ready to go overseas.
Yeah. Now your job was a combat medic, right?
Yes.
How did that come to be? Like, is that something that they decided for you, or is it something?
Well, when they
decided?
bring you in on the trucks, I didn't know.
Right.
What I was going to be. But then, when the different units that need men come and they pick out what they want off the trucks, I was the last one in the truck.
Really?
Yeah, it was 122nd Middle Company A.
Yeah.
So, and I was glad because that's what I really wanted to, I didn't want to kill anybody.
Right.
And so.
Did you have any medical training prior? I mean, what kind of medical training did you get?
We got what is necessary.
Yeah.
Mortar.
Right.
Blast. And, of course, they're very different. They're all singed.
Yeah.
They don't bleed like others bleed.
Uh-huh.
And things like that. And like he just had stubs for all of his appendages. All the skin was missing on the side of his face.
Wow.
See, that's why I can't talk about what I do, because nobody really wants to hear. Like once down at Togus, I was all through and I was just sitting in there, and I think he was, and I was talking to a few guys, about my experience and everything. And I looked at the clock and I said, oh my Lord. I've got to be getting home. I got to finish my story. And one guy stands up. He says, "That's probably all it is a story," and walked out.
Man.
I never forgot that.
Yeah. Crazy.
I'm so glad I got him back because he's really all I got.
Right. So you said you had what medical training was necessary? What do you mean?
Oh yeah.
What do you mean by that?
Well, a lot of it, you throw everything you learn in basic out when you get in combat.
Right.
And but that was bandaging. And
so where in Europe did you arrive?
I landed on Utah Beach. because we landed at Greenock, actually, which is out, and there's a big canal that goes up to Glasgow.
Right.
And just before you get in Glasgow, there's this tremendous rock to a place called Tatton Park in England. And they had it all set up for troops and everything. And you could see over where they, you know, where the paratroopers were training over there, jumping off their things. And, you know, there was troops all around.
Right.
And we went to Tiverton.
Yep.
And we knew something had happened. And then in Tiverton, we got our vehicles all snorkels on them and all waterproof and
Yeah.
like that. And of course, the litter bearers, you know, 'cause we were, you know, to go up. We were on an ambulance, and the ambulance platoon company. And like I said, after we had that one, that was right in the blast there and everything, and I rode back with him. And it wasn't long after that Lieutenant Callahan sent for me, and he's the officer for the ambulance platoon.
Yeah.
And asked me if I would go with him. He says, "I see you've had light truck training." I had all truck training. You should see me. And so he said, "I've seen you had light truck training." So he gave me. I went on with Chamberlain as his assistant driver. And he lasted about a week, I guess. He was killed almost right beside me.
Really? What happened?
And I had Rich on the other side.
What happened?
Damn water.
In order.
You know, you don't get no warning on them.
Right.
Yeah, bang! You know. Now I was walking across there, and a big flock of ducks coming right over my head,
Yeah.
and they sounded like a shell coming in.
Really?
And so I hit the dirt right out.
Automatic response, I guess, huh? So from 43,
Time I landed on the beach.
do you remember the day you landed on the beach?
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember the day you
Oh, I
landed
guess
on?
I do. But that's what I thought. When I see the LSI ramp come down, you know, and I could look off across the beach, why, but we weren't in the first waves.
Right. Now, how long after
Yeah.
the initial attack did you guys land?
I think it was 4 or 6 days.
4 or 6 days, so it wasn't quite
And they
as
had a
intense.
little, and it's funny, us medics went in first. Hear of the breakthrough at St. Law with a 3,000 plane raid.
I'm not really sure.
A lot of people have.
I'll have to look it up so I
And,
don't feel so stupid next time. So,
And I sit there in my hole, you know, and I watch the planes go over and over, and I see the fighters come out.
yeah,
But you can see of course I kept my eye right on the P-38, you know, some would come down and they'd come out of the parachutes, and some of the bombers would come down, and the Germans are skidding in and out with their fighter planes. And well, we'd had a big fight the day before across the hedgerow at a big farmstead, and well, I don't know if you want to hear that or not.
I'll
But they'd used a lot of
listen.
flamethrowers. and that
The Germans, or
Yeah, there's still German bodies over there smoking and,
Right.
and everything. But they picked up, the American bodies. But Graves' administration couldn't take care of them. You want to hear this?
yeah, absolutely.
They throw them in a pile in a shed or something.
Yeah.
And there's a big pile bigger than this room.
Of just bodies.
And you know, what they do, of course, they soon balloon their clothes all out with bloating. And then the maggots come.
Yeah, I mean, I can't imagine.
It's horrible to see. Then we had a big sign, we're entering Germany through the courtesy of the 79th Infantry Division. I did have a picture of me leaning against the sign somewhere. But there was a lot of showing of respect, you know, with the Germans and the soldiers.
Really?
Oh, there was those too. Because we wore a great big red cross on our steel helmets.
Uh-huh.
And some of them got bullets right in the middle of them, you know, from
Right.
snipers. But that was very few. And then,
The best and the worst memory of your experiences overseas. Do you have a day that stands out in your head that was wonderful and for maybe a minute you forgot really what was going on around you? I mean, was it possible? Is there a moment you can remember?
well, the worst is that one I tell you about.
Right, the mortar, yeah.
The best, I don't know, there's a lot of good time.
Well, just, doesn't have to be anything too powerful, just something you remember, like, even if it's little, anything you can think of.
Yeah, because like when I had the Zukas for this assistant driver, you know, and oh, he was a big, good-looking guy,
Yeah.
and we would come to a town or something with a pool, you know, a dam, so there's a pool behind it and everything, and so we'd go on a swim, you know, or something like that, and of course. Most was swept in our OD shorts. I swam in that. Not him. He'd go bollocky.
Jesus.
Well, those 2 or 3 of them that did it.
Yeah.
They wanted to show themselves off.
Right.
Because they were much better endowed than we were.
Right.
And,
Is there a specific instance where you might have come under heavy fire
yeah.
that you thought that this was the end? Did you ever feel that
Well, a lot
way?
of times, right around the aid stations, you know.
Yeah?
And we were on the line. Shells, you know, would come in. You'd hear them all around. Boom, you know, and all of that stuff. So we'd stay hidden,
Yeah.
you know, inside while the shelling was going on.
Right.
And then, of course, when they started yelling medic, like, took the rope and went out. And my steel helmet, I wish I brought it home. I could have. But you should see the pile of steel helmets I threw that into.
All right.
All these places have the